Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in the SFL. Along with Mike O'Neill, I'm Cameron Irvine. Week 5 was one for the history books, Mike, and we are here to break it all down. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Cam. I'm doing good. Excited to be here for another week in the SFL breakdown. And, man, this was a crazy weekend. I mean, we're talking about some of the best football the SFL has seen in a while. So, excited to be here.
Let's get to the headlines. Ron Cochran got it going in an overtime win for Florida over Charleston. DC throws the game away in Baltimore, and if you're here for the facts of that case, we've got them for you. And Scott Johnson gets his last laugh against his old team. But first, we go to Atlanta, where the Atlanta Swarm had it all going on early. Grant Hardaway, who's in the chat here tonight, nearly had a touchdown, but was robbed by Harish Prasad, always ruining all the fun. But 17-0, Carolina trailing, and they finally got it going. Middle of the second quarter, Matt South to Riley Quintero makes it 17-7. Then Xavier Solomon with the catch down to the 2-yard line. More from him later. And would Carolina be able to squeeze a touchdown out of their 2-minute offense? Why, yes, they do. Vince DeSantis with the score. 14 straight in the last 5 minutes of the second quarter. Got Carolina back in this thing. 17-14 now into the second half. South, look at all the time, and didn't see Moose Pavino. How about that creeping underneath, Mike? And it looked like Atlanta was going to steal all the momentum in the third.
Yeah, that's exactly what you look for too. Especially that's exactly what Atlanta wanted to happen when you play a safety like that down underneath. I mean, he's got hops, so Moose Papano comes up big there. Atlanta really trying to get back into it, finding the rhythm here.
Hollywood gets a long gain on the play. Now 3rd down and 7 just a minute later from the Carolina 12. Dynasty against a blitz. He rolls away from it and then fires to Siege Falco in tight coverage by Tristan Hatley. Kaka is right, Andy Hamilton. 24-14. Atlanta back up by 10. But no quit in the Skyhawks. Matt South, how about trusting your best receiver one-on-one? Harish Prasad with the score. Now it's back to a 3-point game, 24-21. But we head to the 4th, where Carolina is trailing but hitting Riley Quintero into field goal range. Carolina down 9, but the drive would stall 9 yards later until this. Backup quarterback, it's a fake! Xavier Solomon, no way! Touchdown, Carolina! What'd you think of that in real time, Mike?
I was losing it, man. I was losing it. I was watching. I was screaming at the TV because I just didn't believe what happened. Xavier Solomon, way to get that out route, perfect timing. Good job of the backup quarterback delivering a ball right outside the numbers where you need to and only where his receiver can get it. I mean, that was perfect execution by Carolina, Cam.
So Carolina down just 2. They get a stop on defense and they get the ball back. What would they do in the 2-minute offense of the 4th quarter? Matt South fires it deep. That's Vince DeSantis. First down into Atlanta territory. Plenty of time at this point for Carolina. All they need is 3. Now a minute to go. Just outside of field goal range, South. Ike McBride, all kinds of room. Hanzo picks up a late block, and Carolina is in scoring position, down 2. Does this sound familiar to anybody else out there in SFL weekend? But no, not everybody throws the game away. Carolina gets down the field, sets up a 22-yard field goal. Malone Brown, good. And Atlanta goes down 31-30 in a stunner, Mike. At home, they remain winless. Carolina comes back. They were down 17-0 in the first quarter. Your reactions to the Skyhawks getting to 3-1?
I mean, hey, congrats to Carolina. You know, the fake field goal really kind of sealed the deal. I mean, that's enough. That by itself is deserving for a win. But Atlanta played really good. You know, it seemed like Atlanta got to put everything together they've been trying to piece together over the first couple weeks. They got BDG involved. BDG looked great on the ground. They were using him, you know, in the right ways. Atlanta did everything right here. Carolina really just kind of, you know, hit Atlanta with a left hook with that fake field goal.
Yeah, they totally took momentum in the game. You could feel it in the way that Atlanta started to press after that. $9.99 super chat from Skip. Mike O'Neill, run it back. Give him a new word. I think she's talking about what was it last week? I can't remember.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Yeah, you have a whole show now to think of another word for me.
Oh, I've already got it.
Oh, you already have it. Okay, well,
rumpus.
Excuse me?
Rumpus.
You're going to have to give me the definition. Can you spell it for me?
No. We don't need definitions here. This is This Week in the SFL. We make our own rules.
Great.
Rumpus.
Great. You know what? This week was so exciting. This seems rather boring. Let's get back to the highlights. We go now to Mexico City, where JQ fumbles in the second quarter. We pick things up. It was Mexico City early. It was looking real dreary for the Tulsa Desperados. Blaylock forces the fumble. Sweet gear from the Aztecs in the crowd. And, it was a rough night for Tulsa early.
Yeah, really, Tulsa kind of got off to a slow start. But, at the end of the day, I mean, really this game was so back and forth, Cam.
Jordan Sipe delivers after the turnover. Hits Terrell Cooper. That's caught. Makes it 17-3 Aztecs. Another team at home, winless like Atlanta, trying to take care of business and up early in the ball game. Now, in the second quarter, JQ back to pass, fires it to DJ Hume, one-on-one coverage. Hume makes him pay, and Tulsa was not done through the air on this drive. Coach is loving it.
Hume really doing a good job there in one-on-one coverage.
Q looking around, staying patient, and then finds Gabriel Manning, who takes it out of the sky. Stu was unbelievable. Much more from him later on in this one. 17-10. Tulsa cuts the deficit to 7. Manning with a little dance. 4 minutes to go in this one. 4th and inches. Punter fakes it. Punter throws it. That's K.O. Barrett Jr. with the catch. Not sure if it would have gotten a first down, but a roughing the passer penalty on Tulsa. It was one of their 7 penalties for 63 yards in this game. They had a roughing the passer, face mask, blocks in the back, pass interference. They were a mess. David Ware got hurt in the game, but JQ's got Gabriel Manning down 20-10 just before the first half. Here comes the Tulsa Desperados. Douglas Brown also got hurt in the second quarter of this game. A broken finger. He did come back in the game, but just didn't look the same. JQ fires it. That is Manning again inside the 20 and getting Tulsa into scoring position. But on that play, JQ was hurt. So enter the backup quarterback who finds a wide open DJ Bandit. Busted coverage there. And just like that, Tulsa has cut it to a 3-score game at the end of the first half. Pick things up in the third quarter. Backup still in and finding Gabriel Manning. Check that in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go. 23-20. Mexico City still up 3. But Johnson slinging it with JQ on the sideline. Johnson again finds DJ Bandit down the middle inside the 50. Hey, look, a team down 3 on the road has another 2-minute drive in store for them. And this one is a touchdown to Gabriel Manning, who breaks off 2 tackles. The GOAT. Tulsa with a 27-23 lead in improbable fashion.
And Gabriel Manning really showing here why he gets paid all that money, Cam. He is really an elite. I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. He is an elite receiver, even in this transition. And Tulsa did a good job finding him.
Last play, Jordan Sipe floats it up for grabs, and there's nothing there. The Tulsa Desperados complete the comeback. They beat Mexico City 27-23 to send the Aztecs to 0-5. Tulsa, who had a nail-biting loss against Fort Worth last Monday night, gets the win despite 7 penalties, despite losing the turnover battle, despite 3 injuries to their starting players, including their quarterback, who was out the entire second half. It just shows a lot of strength in the Desperados, and more importantly, Mike, as you alluded to with Gabriel Manning, it shows that when you have a superstar, they can take over given the right set of circumstances, and that's why you have them.
I mean, you're exactly right. You said it exactly right. I mean, Douglas Brown went down, and literally Tulsa's offense said, well, we're going to have to rely on our best player here. And that's what they did. Even with, I mean, you had a quarterback go down. They had the backup quarterback in there. And I mean, how much sense does that make, really? Your backup quarterback's in there. The coach is just going to tell the backup quarterback, just find the best player on the field. Throw it to the best receiver on the field. And everybody knows that's Gabriel Manning. So Gabriel Manning did a good job.
dramatics in Mexico City and Atlanta. They both lose at home. They both stay winless. Which loss to you was more shocking?
That's a tough one. It's really, I don't know if I can make that decision right now. I think I would need, yeah, I mean, they all pretty much stand out in their own ways, but I don't think I can peg just one, Cam, honestly.
It's a tough. Someone's got to lose every week, and unfortunately for Atlanta and Mexico City, that's still them. Let's hear from Mexico City's co-owner Ramos Lynn after the loss. He sat down with Ashley Jackson on our first installment this week of PGI.
All right, and we are back with PGI, another good friend of mine, Mr. Joey Lynn, a.k.a. Ramos Lynn. He is the owner and head coach, co-owner and head coach for the Mexico City Aztecs. And, first of all, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Despite a challenging season, we are very high spirits, and the energy and the passion for this has not weakened a little bit, not even a bit. So I'm good, man. I'm good, Ashley. I hope you're doing well as well.
I am doing good, man. But you're my friend, and when I see things that I'm not used to, I have to ask. What
Sure.
what is different about this season in comparison to last season, even besides the game, that you're finding that you're kind of struggling with to find your first win?
Well, we prepare the best way we've been able to. We were accustomed to a certain type of playbook, certain type of strategy against certain opponents. But as as we've seen in this game, things are different. Some stuff that we used to do in the other era of SFL is no longer viable, and we got to find solutions, and we are trying to find those solutions. We are 0-5, but we have lost 3 of the 5 games just by one play, like just one play different in 3 games, and we could be 3-2, right? There are no moral victories, but it hasn't been terrible from beginning to end. We lost the last 10 seconds against Tulsa this week. We lost against field goal and a field goal as well against Indy and Portland. So we could be 3-2, and with a good chance at a playoff run. But that's just how the way it goes. I think that the team, the locker is in high spirits, and I will not change it for the world. So we're good.
That's good to know. Because it's we're all kind of surprised by that. But of course, you've been in this league for a long time. So if anybody can turn that around, I know it's you. So
thanks.
You're welcome. Last question for you though. Going into this particular game with Tulsa, you were 0-4. How did you plan for Tulsa, and what do you think was the disconnect this time?
Just overall execution, I think, on a couple of fronts in offense and defense. I think that there were a couple opportunities where we couldn't capitalize on third and shorts that could have kept drives together. And on the other, in the other side of the coin, even though we did a good job against the run, there were a couple times where we couldn't wrap up on a couple tackles. We did have a situation where one of our DBs was very close to making an interception and a 50-50 ball. And then at the very end of the game, Gerard had perfect coverage on Gabriel Manning, and Gabriel came up with a 50-50 ball and was able to score. So, just execution in a few plays, and the result could have been totally different.
Indeed. Well, like I said before, anybody can figure it out, you will. So good luck for the rest
I hope so. Thank you, Ash.
You're very welcome.
You too.
Thank you, Ramos. All right.
Bye.
Back to you in the booth.
Thank you, Ashley. And let's get back to the highlights. We got a busy show because we had an incredible weekend. Let's go to Arizona, where Christian Brown throws into the shadows of Fatality Field and finds Brett Killian. It was really good to see Christian Brown slinging the rock a lot more in this one than in that game against Vegas. because he had a field day against Arizona's defense. Brown then on the next play avoids an Eddie Gage sack and throws an absolute dime to BK12 to put Vancouver up 14-7.
BK12 doing BK12 things there, Cam. That's what your best receivers does.
Arizona's run game nearly unstoppable in this one. DJ Moses with a long run, and then Moses gets the score. Justin Williams had a touchdown earlier in the game. He's approaching double digits for the season. So now we're tied at 14 in Phoenix. Christian Brown sacked by Hunter Norwood. That ends the drive. The newly acquainted Hall of Famer DJ Moses with another explosive run to the outside. He scores again and puts Arizona up 21-14. Ashley Jackson hits Will Todd to start the third quarter with a touchdown. I mean, Arizona didn't pass a lot, but when they did, pretty open receivers, 28-17 Arizona. Vancouver finds themselves trailing again, but what a throw to Chris Curtis, who gets behind the defense and nearly gets into the red zone. That was a heck of a throw from Christian Brown. 28-20. They settle for a field goal. Ashley Jackson's pass to James Hands, who gets rid of a tackle. A bunch of passes to the near side of the field in this game. It's almost like we're watching the same highlight 4 times. Now Robert Redford down 35-20. You're thinking this game is over, but Logan Lee has other plans with 8 minutes left, down 15, getting Vancouver down the field. Brown this time flips it outside, and that pass hauled in, and then a face mask from Sean Moore at the end of the play. Zorro Lunar with the reception. That was a huge penalty.
Massive penalty, Cam. I mean, you're playing good if you're Arizona, but you cannot afford to be undisciplined.
Handoff to Logan Lee. Finishes off the drive with 5:07 left. So, hey, Vancouver right back in this thing. Andy Hamilton loves it. 35-27. Vancouver's defense finally gets a stop. They get the ball back now. 3rd down and 10. What's Christian Brown going to do? What a perfect pass. Right at the sticks. Hits Chris Sanseri for the first down. That was a brilliant throw in traffic. Brown quickly back up to the line. This time gets Brett Killian. How the heck did he catch that pass? Unbelievable play. Brown, can he do it 3 times in a row? Great no-huddle offense here. 1:10 left to go. And Brown's pass is caught by Sanseri for the first down inside the 10. The clock continues to tick. Now 2nd down and goal. Down 8. Christian Brown, can he complete the comeback? This time out of the shotgun, and Brown goes to the back of the end zone and puts that one in a phone booth to BK12 for his second.
Christian Brown played lights out in this game, Cam, and I think this is exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the season. When you look at this wide receiving core, how good they are on paper, this was the game for me that it showed up in.
2-point conversion to tie the game. Logan Lee faced some pressure from Parker Thomas, but he does, in fact, tie the game. 35 all. Vancouver comes all the way back. They were down 15 in the 4th quarter to tie it. Now they just need a stop. Ashley Jackson fires down the middle. That pass caught by Donnie Hands just outside of field goal range. And then with 1 second on the clock, a pretty questionable pass interference penalty. There's good PIs, there's bad PIs. That was a tough pill to swallow for Vancouver right there.
Yeah, and it's always sad to see, a penalty for the end of the game. I mean, look, it's hard to get every call right. I mean, it was a little ticky-tack for me. But, again, we talked about undisciplined. You can't give any reason for these refs to throw the flag out here. And, Arizona just capitalizing where they needed to.
So, JT Delaney in Arizona looking for the game winner, the new hero of Arizona. And look at that kick straight down the middle. Good. Arizona outlasts Vancouver 38-35. They improved to 4-1. Vancouver, an extremely good 2-2 with losses to Arizona and Alamo City through the first 5 weeks. Ashley Jackson caught up with the game-winning kicker, JT Delaney, after the game.
Welcome back to PGI where I am joined with Arizona Scorpions kicker and hometown hero, Mr. JT Delaney, kicking the game-winning field goal. How are you doing, sir?
It felt really good to get that walk-off out of the way. It just makes me so happy that I'm finally able to be put in a position where not that nobody else trusted me. That's beside the point. But that I was in a position to do it, and they trusted my leg, and I was able to deliver.
We're going to see from Hudson James here. Does he have it? He did kick a 46-yarder last week.
A high snap handled pretty well as well. This kick is up and gone. It is no good.
Pick sixes and forced fumbles.
Moving out of the pocket. Pickler left. That is a one-handed grab out to the outside to the 38-yard line. That is your Retroid nice hands catch of the game.
Believe me, we had talks that pass should never be thrown again.
3-0 San Diego in the second quarter as Pickler fires it again for a first down just outside the 10-yard line. Eagle Mondavi with the catch. So San Diego in a pretty defensive first quarter in their camo gear on the road, trying to punch it in, and they will. Mateo Bravado with the touchdown. So 10-0 San Diego takes the lead. Hey, Coach O'Neill loves it. 5.5 to go in the second. And Pickler again connects with B. Robo, who was on fire in this one. And that had to be real good to see, Mike, seeing your passing game get moving. Pickler completed his first 6 passes. San Diego took a 14-point lead.
Yeah, it was really good to see, especially after we struggled the past few weeks getting our offense going. Pickler, the people wanted to see Pickler, so, we brought Pickler out.
But Lucas DeVore takes it away, trying to give momentum to Denver in the towards the end of the first half. But it was not to be, because again, kicking woes for the Nightwings really hurt them. How did they get into that point? Well, it was Gene Struthers finally connecting with a receiver down the field. He really struggled. He missed 3 or 7 of his first 10 passes, but Logan Keel gets him into field goal range, but then a 36-yarder. That wind was blowing left all night long. James hurt by it again.
It's tough to see. It really is tough to see, because that wind out there, it can be really brutal sometimes. And we haven't seen a kicker yet struggle like this. But for Hudson James, I know he's going to bounce back.
Some nights it's just going to happen. 20-3, fourth quarter. Bailey O'Shaughnessy finally gets out of a jam and gets Denver back in this thing, makes it 20-10. Just at the start of the fourth quarter, and Denver, for the first time in this game, truly had some life. But Mateo Bravado and the Mavericks would shut the door late in the fourth quarter, and San Diego would hold on to win 20-13. Let's go to Houston, where the Fort Worth Toros were in town, and this game was all about defense, defense, defense. That was an interception from Houston, one of the 3 times Fort Worth reached the red zone and scored no points. But back on the next possession, Marcus Dunhill would hit Stephen Hacker to put Fort Worth up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. All's well that ends well. Now to the second, and now it's Josh Slapp, who's looked really great through the first 5 weeks, and you can't let him do that. He's gone.
Josh Slapp just proven to be one of the most dominant rookies out of the gate this season for Houston. And man, from the first time I saw Josh Slapp, he continues to impress.
Marcus Dunhill on a rollout is picked again as Houston gets another defensive stop on Fort Worth's second red zone turnover. Fort Worth, 8 red zone trips, just 3 touchdowns in this game. Dave Burr on the next possession had a Gond problem. Jerry D. Gond and Luther Gond were all over him. 2nd and 17, and then on the next play, they sandwich him. A 6-yard loss made it 3rd and 23, and Houston was punting out of the back of their own end zone. Fort Worth tried to turn that into a touchdown, but there is a 3rd and goal stop from Jason Peace, who got hurt later in the game. 10-7, Fort Worth up, and Dunhill tries again. That one is broken up, so now it's 13-7. The undefeated Toros only up 6. Dave Burr trying to respond for Houston, finds Mike St. Green in the 4th quarter, down 23-14. This is when the game really started getting crazy. Burr out of the shotgun, trying to make something happen, and it's tipped away and incomplete. So Houston kicks the field goal to make it a 6-point game. 22-yard chip shot, no problem for Sonny J. Now they got to recover the onside kick. This can be a wild experience. Look at that drive. 14 plays in 2 minutes and 16 seconds, but they only got 3 points. So onside kick, down 6 from Sonny J, and Sonny J gives Houston an opportunity, but it's actually recovered by the same player, Davis, who bobbled the initial attempt. Fort Worth gets a field goal, makes it 26-17, but Houston comes right back, hits Greg Corky for the score to make it 26-24. So here we go again, onside kick. It's recovered by Fort Worth, but then a fumble, and Houston recovers, and they have another opportunity at it, Mike.
Absolutely crazy, Cam. The fact that it is I believe it was a generic out on the field that picked it up and fumbled it, but man, you have to hold on to the ball there. That is why you have your best players out there, your hands team, as you call them.
So Houston gets one more opportunity after they looked dead to rights, dead in the water, despite all of the red zone stops, and Dave Burt he throws a pick. Browning with the interception, I believe, 4th of his career, 1st of this season. Jail Browning gets it done for Fort Worth. They win 26-24. Crazy stat in this one, Mike. Houston's average starting field position was their own 21. Fort Worth's average starting field position was their own 42-yard line, and they still almost didn't have enough thanks to that Houston defense. A tough loss for the Headhunters.
Yeah, really tough loss for the Headhunters. And again, though, I mean, we said it last week, but this is Houston doesn't change on my quality of teams. Like, they do not change. This is an undefeated Fort Worth team for a reason. We saw it in that game. And Houston gave them, just like they gave Alamo City, everything that they had to handle. So, this is just bad breaks for Houston. Dave Burr, you can't make a mistake in a crucial situation like that.
And Fort Worth now 4-0, 3-0 on the road. They still have 5 home games left. They are just killing it. Back to the highlights. There is a theme going on in these highlights that we'll get to in a minute, but we go to Baltimore, where in the first half, it was basically all Baltimore until this play. Kevin Say somehow able to tightrope the sideline and fool the Vultures. It was 17-3 with 4.5 to go. DC had done nothing. They threw a pick on the second play of the game, and Kevin Say was able to get them some momentum. Now 3rd and goal on the next possession, and Wigmore throws an interception in the end zone. Holder grabs the face mask, insult to injury. DC ends up getting a field goal on it before the end of the half to make it 17-13, and just like that, all of Baltimore's momentum was gone. DC to start the 3rd quarter, Lauren Prococo. Get out of here, man. She is just awesome.
She's been unreal all season, Cam. Every single time Prococo's on the field, you got to circle number 47 on the screen, and I guarantee you that's what opposing defenses are doing.
Still down 4, DC on 2nd down and goal, looking for their first lead of the game, and who else would you trust but Kevin Say? Say gets his 2nd touchdown of the day, 20-17 now in the 3rd. The Dragons lead the Vultures on the road, trying to get to 3-1, and Kevin Say is happy about that. Here's another look at it. Nice block by the fullback.
Yeah, great block and just explosive run by Say.
All right, so Baltimore would get the ball back. How would they respond? Caesar Ackerman, 3 targets, no catches before this grab down the middle of the field. That was a beautiful pass over the outstretched arms of DeSantis from Jack Wigmore, and Baltimore is cooking once again. T. Roy Gaines lined up as the running back. That's going to be a problem for the DC Dragons. By the way, both teams looked real sharp in this game. Those Reds looking dangerous for the Vultures, and T-Roy looking dangerous as he gets into the end zone for the score. So Baltimore retakes the lead 24-20 as this game began to go back and forth. You'd like to see them with shirts on, but if they're not, I mean, at least the paint's cool.
That's pretty true. But T-Roy Gaines, man, how about T-Roy here? Just the awareness to run towards the corner, you know what I mean, away from the defenders. Really, really good run there by T-Roy.
He woke up and chose violence against that official. Lucky enough, he got away. But DC would bounce back. Kevin Say with touchdown number 3 on the ground, and DC retakes the lead 27-24. Look at Potty giving high fives on the sideline. Now, late in this one, 4th and inches in the fourth quarter, 31-27, DC gets it. They get a field goal, and then 31-30, they were in field goal range at the Baltimore 23-yard line, but Shabazz Synergy gets greedy and throws a pick. Marvin Himes just makes a fantastic play on this ball.
Yeah, it's a great play, great read by Himes, and even better interception. You cannot get any better than that. Was a wide receiver out there playing DB for that, Cam. That was insane.
And that sealed the game. Baltimore won 31-30, and DC literally threw the game away. Okay, so much to break down here. First, Baltimore is now 3-2. In 3 straight weeks, they have intercepted Canton late in that game to prevent Canton's comeback. Then against Louisiana, they tackled, I believe it was Da Vinci at the 1-yard line to prevent a Hail Mary from potentially tying the game. Then in this one, they were up by 1 as DC threatened to score, and Marvin Himes takes it away. So 3 straight. You heard Ramos Lynn talking earlier about the 0-5 Aztecs potentially being 3-2. Well, that's what Baltimore is, and they could easily be 0-5, winning their 3 games by 3 plays, but they're getting it done. DC falls to 2-2, but before we break down some of the eccentricities of this matchup, what do you think about what Baltimore's been able to do over the past few weeks?
Baltimore has been Baltimore, you know, and we've said it. I mean, I've said it, you know, we talked about it. Jacob and I talked about it on the Around the SFL podcast. Baltimore is going to shape up no matter what. Everybody, you know, there's no panic from the get-go, right? You can lose a couple games, and Baltimore is a good enough organization where they're going to bounce back. It's exactly what they've been doing. And to speak more on that Mexico City point, yeah, every single one of their losses have been super close. It's the same way with Baltimore. I mean, you're talking about a difference of a couple yards could make Baltimore, you know, essentially 0-5 right now as well.
So let's break it down. We had the San Diego-Denver game. Denver onside kick, down 7 with about 3.5 to go. You have your thoughts on that. Fort Worth and Houston. Houston onside kick with about 2.5 to go, down 6. And then we had not an onside kick in the DC-Baltimore game, but the throwing in field goal range, down 1. So let's get to the onside kicks first. By the way, anybody can do this. It's not just me. I don't have superpowers. You have the game, and you can do this too. Onside kicks, if you're down 7 or more with 4:40 or less on the clock, you will onside kick. Down 4 to 6 points, in between 4 and 6 points, if there's 2:40 or less on the clock, you will onside kick. And if you're down 3 points or less, you won't onside kick until 2:05 is left on the clock. And that's important to note because, you know, if you're down by those slim margins, Mike, well, the problem is that you're down, right? And now you're playing catch up no matter what. But depending upon the situation of the game, you know, it may make more or less sense. But the important thing is, as a coach, you understand that it's coming if you've put yourself in that situation. Just your thoughts on the onside kicks, and then, you know, on what maybe Denver was thinking in that moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right. You know, the onside kicks, look, it's going to choose to onside kick it. Now we know kind of like the parameters of when it's going to happen. Your job as a coach, for one, if your coach is out there listening, your job as a coach is to not be in that position. You know what I mean? If your game plan goes accordingly, you should not be in a position, you know, to try and come back that late in the game. But yeah, I mean, as far as there's so many things that go into what could make a team want to onside kick, you know, specifically looking at, you know, the San Diego game with Denver. San Diego had been converting third downs all night, right? So if you're questioning why Denver's going for an onside kick with 3 minutes and some change left in the game, well, maybe they weren't confident that their defense could stop San Diego in 3 downs, right? Maybe there was no guarantee they could get the ball back, and they said, well, we've got to kind of go for a shot, you know, shoot your shot while you have it. And so that's my 2 cents on that. I think that every game is a little bit different. You could say the same thing about those 3rd and short situations.
So then we went to D.C. and Baltimore. We went in and we looked at it. We ran it over and over and over and over again. And I got to say, Mike, I was pretty surprised. 2 out of every 3 times they kicked the field goal and went up by 2 to give Baltimore the ball back, down 2 with 3 timeouts. But a third of the time they did go for it on 4th down, and a lot of times they didn't even get the 4th down conversion. Baltimore got the stop and won the game. You're talking about the SFL what-if series, right? DC, after they get the 1st down, I saw them run a couple of plays and then kick the field goal. I saw them go no huddle and try and get a touchdown. The point is that I saw them do a lot of different things in those moments when you're trying to figure out what exactly we're watching. And what exactly we're watching is simply that, football. DC got aggressive. They wanted to win the game. They got greedy, and they lost. Credit Marvin Himes on the amazing interception, but that's not something that necessarily is going to happen every single time that we watch a football game, and that's a beautiful thing.
Again, it's the same situation, Cam. It's the same situation. If you're relying on that 3rd and short, that yard or that 2 yards to win you the game, then the game plan didn't go according to plan. And of course, I can sit here and say this. I'm the coach as well. So, like that falls on everybody's shoulders. And of course, it doesn't always go as planned. But you have to be aware of when you're at that point, you're on house money. You're working with house money. At the end of the day, it's not, anything that you get out of that. If DC were to convert that and win the game, it would not be because the game plan was flawless, right? It would be because they took a chance and they got it where they needed to. It's not, you can't credit, a game of a win, whether, it be 2 points or 3 points or whatever. You can't say that that's a flawless game plan. I mean, things happen. Every play in this game is a coin flip, essentially.
And now that you're accountable at home, let's go and choose happy with Keenan Samuels and Ashley Jackson in PGI.
What is up? Welcome back to PGI. And I am joined with another good friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while. His name is Mr. Keenan Samuels. He is the outside linebacker for the Baltimore Vultures, and that is playing like a safety, cornerback.
You know it. We have to get these interceptions, Ashley.
How you been doing, man?
I've been doing good. It's been a minute since we talked.
Yeah.
Last time, we had a little conversation about, meeting up again in the championship, and I think it kind of went our way, but I don't know.
Yeah, y'all cheated. It's okay. No, I'm just playing. I don't even want to put that out there. But no, man, it was all good. But you guys it's been a little different this season, noticeably. It started off rocky for you guys, and now it seems to have turned a corner. So from your perspective, what do you think changed from the beginning of the season until now?
Honestly, I don't think anything's really changed. We just got, we got the best coaches in the game. We got T-Pat masterminded the game. So, eventually he's going to figure it out. So, we had some bumps in the road beginning of the season. But, like I said, man, we trust in T-Pat. We trust in TJ, Nate, the whole gang, T-Roy and all of them. We know they're going to get the job done and game plan correctly. And, all I got to say is once they do get it down, hey, don't be mad. Don't be mad at the Vultures. Don't be mad at the red and black. That's all I got to say. Because he's going to figure it out.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll take him a minute, But this victory that you guys just had was 31-30, very, very close. What do you think gave you guys that much of the advantage in this game?
Well, the funny thing about our team is my favorite team in the NFL is the Minnesota Vikings. And I feel like, we're almost a spitting image of them this season as far as our defense. They play good, but then you look at the scoreboard and it's like, man, 30 points up on the board. But, our defense is what helped seal the game at the end. So, we're out there. We're working hard. They're trying harder. We're doing everything we can on the defensive end, but the offenses are a lot deadlier this season, and especially on the running side of things. So it's definitely been tough for, the defense side for the Vultures, and trying to get, situated and used to the whole new system and everything like that. But I mean, as far as last week's game or this week's game, whatever you want to call it, I mean, I felt like the defense played really good. And they gave up 30 points. So as funny as that sounds, I felt like we had a good game defensively. So
Hey, it's a win at the end of the day.
It's a win at the end of the day.
Hey, well, you know what? Good luck to y'all for the rest of the season. It seems that you guys have definitely been turning that corner, and I'm excited to see how Baltimore, the defending champions, will reign this season. All right.
Hey, don't be surprised if you see us back there. Like I said, man, T-Pat, he's a genius when it comes to this football knowledge. He knows what he's doing, man. Put your trust in T-Pat. Don't bet against him, man.
Hey, that's true, but still a long season. So
still a long season.
All right, thanks, brother. Have a good one.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Hopefully we talk again soon.
Anytime. Back to you in the booth.
Thank you, Ashley. And I know that Keenan Samuels can talk a mean game. So can I on the flag football field. But I hope that we get to meet him one day at an SFL convention because he seems like a really cool dude.
We were talking about his wardrobe, man. Looking real nice.
Yeah.
Dude's got some swag.
Yeah, seriously. You and Tyler look identical tonight, by the way, too. So I don't know what's up with that. We got to coordinate something. At least I'm wearing some gear. All right, back to the highlights. Florida and Charleston. How is this game 42 minutes into our show? Right. First minute of the game, Florida bounties John Lakeman. Davius Reed is dancing in the end zone. The first guy to get down the field was Alex Dominguez. What is happening on this play? John Lakeman gets hurt, and he's knocked out, but would come back in the next series. Now 7-7. 5 minutes later, revenge is a dish best served behind the line of scrimmage. Ron Cochran is sacked by Matthews, and Ron Cochran is hurt. He would come back in the next series, but it's still a 7-7 game. From the moment this game just started, these two teams were going at it. It was a wild affair as Cochran slowly was brought to his feet. Terrell Sutherland, boy, did this dude have a game. He scores and Charleston takes a 14-7 lead. Charleston up 17-10 ensuing kickoff. Are you kidding me? Just when Florida looks like they're down, Art Vandelay, that was so pretty. That was a pretty pirouette. He's out of here.
Man, Florida proving that they can get the job done with special teams, which I think has been a huge reason why they're sitting where they're sitting right now.
So now we're tied at 17. The bench loves it. Bullet Bolesky takes a carry. He averaged less than 3 yards a carry in this game, but he gets a 5-yard touchdown there to put Florida up 24-17. Now 27-17. We head to the fourth, and Terrell Sutherland again with the touchdown. Sutherland, a menace. Saren Storm, Nick Hoagland also had nice days on the ground for the Predators, keeping them in this thing. 27-24, but Ron Cochran, it was his day. Finds Ron Haynes. Mike Daggs called him a ballerina. Gerald Smith rejected that nickname. So 27-24, Ron Cochran, same drive. Same great throws. Oh, my goodness. Veredin Zarkov puts out the invisible stiff arm. The dude falls, and Veredin's like, I put him down, I swear. Now, again, what are you doing, Florida? You're up 10 with 90 seconds to go, and you just left him. Left him for the score. Now it's a 3-point game. Brian Murphy with the touchdown.
Brian Murphy with the dance moves into the end zone. It's killing me.
So, onside kick, Brad Bretchett against his former team, pops up in the air, and it's tipped by Florida, and Charleston recovers. Are you serious? Florida's about to blow this thing. Guy Pan with the fumble recovery.
You've got to make sure you come up big in those situations. You cannot afford to give Charleston this ball back.
So Charleston 1-2, trying to pull themselves out of the depths of the Atlantic. 11.5-point underdogs in the hands of John Lakeman, and John Lakeman finds Benjamin Warner, who had a couple of drops earlier in the game, but he gets them just inside of field goal range. A huge reception for Warner. So a 51-yarder from Brad Bretchett. Oh, baby, that was pretty. It's good. We're tied and we go to overtime. However, too much. Ron Cochran, forget Florida's defense on this day. It was all about number 3, Stephen Bush. Not once, but Stephen Bush would do it twice and put Florida in a position to win the game. Ron Cochran, 350 in this one. He was just outstanding.
Yeah, and I've been a big advocate against, like all season long talking about how Florida potentially could be a one-trick pony. But Ron Cochran and the Florida offense proved me wrong this game. They really came out and just played really, really well in a style that we haven't seen so far this season.
Ooh, Ethan Sneed squeaked that one. He almost missed, but Florida gets the win, 40-37 in overtime. They improved to 4-0 along with Fort Worth. Alamo City unbeaten. They are playing Los Angeles coming up next on the Monday Night Spectacular. Ashley Jackson caught up with Terrell Sutherland. We had some audio issues, but Terrell Sutherland will share his thoughts on Charleston's devastating OT loss.
All right, welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with a good friend of mine, Mr. Terrell Sutherland. He is the GM for the Charleston Predators.
As far as when we get to overtime, it's just, getting that turnover that we need and basically watching essentially 3-4 straight plays where it was a dropped interception that could have given us the ball back late. It's just, it kind of stings to go out that way. But honestly, if I had to choose a way to go out to an old rival in Florida, I wouldn't want it any other way. I think it's more so just, continue working with our DBs and their cover skills, making sure that, they're getting better and better throughout the weeks in coverage, especially against plays like play action and stuff, because that was essentially Florida's bread and butter to beating us, because Bullet Boletsky arguably had one of his worst games of this season so far against us. And I think that's something that our coaches and our players definitely can hang their hats on. Yeah. I just hate that that our defense had to basically watch us, give that drive up at the end. And especially me and the rest of the running backs, we arguably had one of our best games of the season on offense. So to just get inked out like that, it's going to sting for a minute, but, we're going to be back in the lab today and tonight and for the rest of the week because, the season waits for nobody.
We're rolling along here. Back to the highlights coming up. We got Las Vegas and Portland. And early on, Hubba Kimbrell, Mike, is anybody getting the best bang for their buck besides Vegas and Hubba Kimbrell? Like that's got to be the best bang for your buck player right now out there in the league.
It's been unreal. Hubba Kimbrell has been a monster for that Vegas offense and at a not so crazy cost either.
Down 14-6, Mason Kirby making people look foolish on this Portland defense. He gets inside the red zone, and then Hubba Kimbrell finishes it off. Portland had a pretty good start to this game. Vegas really made a run at him as Kimbrell able to turn the corner and get the score, get skinny down by the pylon, but the two-point try would fail. 14-12 at the end of the first half, 43-yard field goal. Matt Rage, watch this. Drifting, doink, right off the post. He stoinked it. Way to go, Scott Hansen. 14-12 now into the third. Eric Price not going away. Finds Mason Kirby again. Touchdown. And Vegas, who left 5 points off the board in that first half of that failed two-point conversion in the field goal, now up 19-14. Cyrus Jive would start getting going. Oh, dirty. Michael Knight. Whoa, what a play. He has been a great acquisition for this Portland passing game. That was a pretty catch.
Yeah, Michael Knight was all over this game. Number 13 was everywhere on this field.
Jive. Look at the pocket. Deep down the field. Caught Israel Adams inside the 10. He had a doofy play earlier in the game where he had a touchdown and started showboating and ended up not getting it, but he'd make up for it. Jive Back of the end zone. Oh, tap the toes. That's a touchdown. Portland's up 20-19. They don't chase points. They just kick the extra point. They go up 2. Now, Vegas, after an ensuing touchdown up 26-21, kicks it to former running back Scott Johnson. And Scott Johnson, with Portland down 5, putting the fleet on his back. And he tries to beat Rage around the corner, and he will. Scott Johnson against his former team. Get out of here.
That was unbelievable. Everybody questioned whenever Scott Johnson signed with Portland and they moved him to wide receiver. Well, now you see why.
Ezekiel Love, that's why you have him. He closes the door on Vegas. 35-26, they'd end up winning 35-29, and he, the closer, Ezekiel Love, sat down with Ashley Jackson in postgame.
All right, what is up, SFL Nation? Welcome back to PGI. And I have a good friend of mine that I haven't seen in a very long time, but it's always a pleasure to make his acquaintance. Listen, Ezekiel Love, he is the star running back, right?
Yes.
For the Portland Fleet. Hey, I had to make sure because y'all be switching around sometimes. So
they still running back and still defensive coordinator. So
beautiful. Of the Portland Fleet that just had their first win, man, over the Las Vegas. Oh, second. My bad.
We're now 2-2 now. Let's get it together now. We're 2-2. That's right. We're 2-2. We beat Mexico, and now we've beaten
How does that feel,
Las Vegas
to get the second win?
And 2 drop passes away from being 4-0. I just want to put that in there. Okay. So anyway. Just saying.
You're right. How does it feel to get that second win?
Oh, it feels wonderful because it's a much needed win. We definitely couldn't go 1-3. That was something we couldn't do. So going 2-2 was very important, especially when we know we let 2 games slip away. The 2 losses. We were driving on both of those games at the end of the game, and just unfortunately we had 2 drop passes that ended the game. But 2 games that we should have won. But we're very happy to be 2-2. We're right in the thick of things and looking to. I think we're just going to get better as the season goes on. We haven't close to peaked yet. If we're a stock, you want to buy us now because we're going up.
Okay, man. Listen, defensive coordinator over here is letting us know. Now, defensively, what do you think Portland had to do? And you don't have to definitely give us your whole game plan or anything like that. But what was one change that you had to make going to this new game defensively that you knew would not work in 2K8? For your team, everybody's different. Let me put that
right. Everybody's different. I just think it's very important that the defense played as a complete unit and attacked the ball as a unit, which is something different that I think we took into the new version of SFL.
Okay. Well,
that's all I can really say about that.
No, don't worry. It's why I said don't get too much away, man. I don't want to be responsible, but but either way, great game plan, Coach. Glad to see you get that win.
Also a great game plan by our OC, Coach Mel Davis, as well.
Yes, definitely. Shout out to
we are one of the top scoring teams in the league through 4 weeks.
Okay. All right,
then. Going into this past game, if I'm not mistaken, according to Tyler during the broadcast, Vegas had never given up that many points all season. So,
okay, making your mark already.
That tells you a lot where Portland is going.
Indeed. So everybody keep a lookout for Portland.
Keep a lookout for Portland. We're on the rise.
Thank you, Mr. Love. I really appreciate
it, Ashley. Appreciate you.
Anytime.
Thank you, Ashley, for all of our interviews, and thank you to all of our guests this week. If you've never been on PGI, give Ashley Jackson a ring. We'd love to have you on the show. And the fundraiser for Jacob Bouvet trying to rebuild his life after he lost his home in the Washington wildfires, has raised nearly $15,000. You can see that link on the homepage of our website, simulationfl.net, if you would like to contribute. So Portland's on the rise. They are 2-2. That's 8 of the 10 games we had this week. They were so good. Barely any time for anything else, but we had a couple of blowouts to talk about. Motor City in Louisiana, one going away. Motor City dominates the run game against Queen City, Louisiana. Louisiana got off to a slow start against Jacksonville, but they really rose up. They are now 2-3, and they put those close losses behind them. Your thoughts on these two teams picking up wins in Week 5?
Yeah, I think that for Louisiana, it was just kind of a really good rebound game to kind of come back. And you can see Louisiana starting to take those steps forward that we've been waiting for them to. You know, they had the 2 good rookies that they drafted in the first round, and those are starting to come to fruition. So, you know, props to Louisiana. Motor City, you know, they really just saw a weakness in Queen City, and they exploited it the entire game. And there's not much else to say about it. I mean, they just came out and they just dominated in one area.
So that takes Motor City to the top of the North, 3-1. Louisiana 2-3, but they are a very strong 2-3, right in the thick of it. Which takes us to tonight's Monday night spectacular between Los Angeles and Alamo City. Can anyone stop the artillery? That is the main question right now. They are number 1 in my personal power rankings, Mike. I've been saying that since the start of the season because they're just so well balanced. 8 different players have scored touchdowns. 10 different defenders have tackles for loss. How difficult that is to do, Mike. You guys are close to that as well, but that is a valuable achievement just through 3 games, Mike. That's it, 3, and they only have 10 players with a tackle behind the backfield. Los Angeles, in some ways, has looked good, in some ways hasn't this season. What are your keys to tonight's game?
Well, I think it's just been a coin flip for LA. You know, you don't know which LA you're going to get. You know, if you're going to get the Week 1 LA against Vegas, or if you're going to get the LA that came out, you know, and put up some really, really good points against the other teams they played. The keys here, I think for LA, you cannot become one-dimensional. Like, you have to have success in both areas. I know it's a tall ask, but you have to have on offensively, you have to be able to get Logan Jack the ball, and Logan Jack's got to be averaging 4 to 6 yards a carry, right? They've got to get him involved enough to where it can open up that pass game of Sully Richardson and really, really start to kind of pull back. Because right now, I'm telling you what, I'd be willing to bet money that ACA comes out and they stack the box, because they're going to try. They're going to test Sully. They're going to say, come on, beat us with your arm, because we're going to shut down Logan Jack. That's the best thing you've got. And look, if LA can come out prepared for that, if they can come out and get Logan Jack moving, find ways to get him involved, and really kind of balance out the playing field and keep the defensive ACA on their heels, then ACA's got something to watch out for. As for ACA, business as usual, right? As for ACA, the thing that they have been so good at, that the reason why they're doing so well this season, is because they're so balanced. They have a really, really good amount of depth in their team, and they get everybody involved, right? There's fresh legs on that field for ACA, and that is really just something that you can't compete against if you've got players, you know, with no fatigue or with no stamina left, going up against, you know, fresh legs off the bench. Good players.
Yeah, I think for Los Angeles tonight, one of my keys is that they have to get explosive, and they have to limit Alamo City's explosiveness. Against Houston just gave up too many big plays through the passing game. They let Alamo City get behind their safeties, and Alamo City made them pay. Los Angeles cannot do that tonight. They cannot afford for Rochelle Colson and Ryan Yosef to get hurt like they did last week. And LA's, they got to get some cheap ones, right? They got to get a couple of touchdowns on the board that beat Alamo City's defense over the top. And then, you know, honestly, Mike, I don't think you can wear down Alamo City. I don't think that Los Angeles going on long drives is going to do much anything. So I think they just have to keep Alamo City in front of them, and they'll give themselves a chance and be unpredictable, right? Throw something new out there offensively that Alamo City hasn't seen, because the best way to upset an opponent is to show them something they haven't seen before, because they obviously know what they're doing. We'll see what LA gives us tonight. They are heavy underdogs, certainly But you just never know, right? On Monday Night Spectaculars, you really just
Not
never
after
know.
this weekend.
Not,
Not
right.
after this weekend.
That's true. After this weekend, anything is possible. For Mike O'Neill, I'm Cameron Irvine. This has been This Week in the SFL, 1 hour, right on the nose. Your Monday Night Spectacular between Los Angeles and Alamo City comes your way next on SFL YouTube. We'll see you then.